I'll start by just going through why why a signals app, right? Really, it started with people that wanted to automate, right? Um, we had SK in our group who's like desperate to automate, and it's very hard to do that with TradingView um, with such a uh, an indicator or trading system like Stacks. Why? Because honestly, TradingView is very limited, not only by look back, but also with the amount of things you can process in one indicator. And Stacks was already chock a block. For anyone who's not English, it means totally full of processes, and we ran out of space to explore more granular processes and more detail. And so you can have all these ideas, but if you haven't got a system that, or an interface or an application that affords you the ability to explore all the things that you think might work very well, well, then you're stuck. And so we've pretty much just offboarded all of the signals, right? And we've got like a database being built, very powerful, with all of my ideas, the group's ideas of ways that we could enhance and actually produce, uh, I guess you could say, relevant and also useful insights on which signals are performing well on a dynamic basis, right? So, um, yeah, this is the culmination of, on the right there, Evil AI Signals app is a culmination of about 3 weeks of solid grind, me and the testers and the group and whatnot. Um, and it's it's been a bit of a tough one because yeah, like I had to redesign Stack's alert system to be able to communicate like the original script was communicating, but in the form of JSON and through to webhooks, and get those coming through immediately. So as soon as they trigger. Um, yeah, so lots to discuss. I'll try. I've been coding for. I don't think there's been a day where I haven't been coding for as long as I remember. So yeah, I'm a little bit spun out, but I'll try and be as concise as possible. And you're welcome to help me along the lines, along the way by asking questions too, if anything pops up. I'll just make the chart like super clear. So this is the new well map. You can actually see, not to sort of divert the conversation away from the point, the purpose, but you can see heavy, actually groups the data where you have heavy selling, right? But these are actual limit orders that didn't get filled, and these actually show the limit orders on the bid and ask that got filled, right? And so these, it says trapped, but in green, because when you have trapped sellers at the lows, right? It's kind of smart actually. Trapped sellers, that is fuel for price to go higher, right? So your trapped sellers at the lows, what could possibly go wrong? Once again, trapped sellers here. So any order flow traders probably find that pretty fascinating. Um, and so yeah, often when you have trap traders, when we come and retest that, that's a flood of market buy orders. Everyone coming out break even because they're just so happy that they can get out at least at zero, right? So what happens typically? Well, you get a pretty explosive move away. So yeah, I'm working on that at the moment. Enhancement, because I haven't worked on WellMap for some time because we have lots of other things to work on, but I like that because it gives you some extra areas to watch for a reaction in relation to where we take our trades from stacks. Obviously, stacks first, everything else second. That's typically how we approach things. But yeah, so we'll often get questions of people saying, so is it fully automated? And it's like, well, it's as close to full automation as you can get. And I'm not out here promoting for people to use it like fully automatic, although hint hint nudge nudge, it can be done. And so yeah, like here on the 4 minute chart, it's so random. Like people will be like, why the 4 minute? Are you one of these numerology guys that believes in a specific time frame? No. It's taking every trade historically, right? We don't care about what TradingView is saying. Yeah. Oh, is it glitching? Can people tell me if it's glitching before I continue? Because I'll explain. The toilet bot? Hmm. Anyone else having an issue? No. Okay, it's you then, William. Yeah. Okay, thanks, guys. So moving on. If there's any issues, just say. I'm looking at the chat at the same time. But yeah, so it's taking all the signals, whether they win or lose, plugging them all into here. We have a database building, and this is, for example, one of the top. So you've got all these signal intelligence suggestions, so it will tell you what the top things are. And so currently on all trades, so that's gold and NQ, right? You have, if we do the drop down of the signal intelligence, you see these trades you should avoid because they typically will end badly. So avoid these strongest edges, and of course you can't do this in TradingView at all. It's impossible with this layer of complexity. So we're just basically going like, all right, it's gonna be hard, but let's make it fucking happen. All in, balls deep. We just went fully like take the reins from TradingView and offboard it all. So yeah, strongest edges for both assets, both pairs. You can see it says 88% win rate, 1,245 points across, and this is only across. It's got to be about 2 weeks of data, which works well for us because Stacks is very dynamic, so it's always changing and adapting to the market. Um, so yeah, 88% win rate. It's real for B setups in London, right? So that's longs or shorts, right? Across both assets. And then if I go to, and I've got that selected, right? Strongest edge, I select that. So I'm only seeing those. And as you can see, you know, it's mostly gold. I don't know if it's showing all of them. I need to check that because it wouldn't be. Yeah, I just need to double check that because I know we've had for B setup London. Yeah, we've definitely had some for NQ as well. So I did a few updates recently. I always have to go and backtrack and check that it's still referencing all the data that we have. We've got about 600 trades logged at the moment. So, but yeah, that's an example. And then avoid risks, right? And it's showing these. Of course, there's going to be losses, but you can literally define from, and I'll get to the next section, the performance section will tell you, right, which trades to focus on, right? And it's always updating, it's dynamic. So whatever the current theme is of trades working out, you can literally just filter to focus on those. And this is a notification system too. So instead of getting alerts from TradingView, you don't have to set alerts anymore because the app will notify you, and you can literally you can be notified on your phone too because you can download the web app, and so we've tested that out too. And then edges only, and then you can have high confidence, which takes into consideration like a bunch of factors and whether it's high or low. You want to take it if it's above 7 or whatever. The higher the better. but these are all just general kind of like filtering. If you then also, we have two other options. I just added one more function. So instead of relying on the stop losses inside TradingView, like that hit target, but let's say it didn't, then your stop loss would have been 26 points away, because that's taking it from all historical signals based on that signal type. So you got A and B signals, and in that session, right? And so it would say this is the average move that moves against your trade, right? In TradingView with the data logged there, right? But we can have a much more deeper view. We can actually impart or include a heat stop, right? And the heat stop is basically saying, instead of stomaching that, there's a section called heat intelligence, which basically says what is the, you see here, it's very kind of full on. I'm going to create a documentation thing, but there are ways to make it simpler, and a lot of the settings and filters are all there to make it simpler for you, because you don't have to go and calculate this. Everything's being done automatically for you, so you don't have to like understand everything in the app. It's not for everyone. There's a simpler process, which is just select the best of everything mode, basically. And I'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, so we can see that this is really cool, right? Because heat intelligence takes every single trade that worked out. So 90% of trades that hit target before the stop, how much heat, yeah, do you understand? How much heat did they take? How much drawdown did they have to tolerate before they then went to target? Because sometimes it can go and have a deep movement away from your the trigger, right? But then eventually go to target anyway. Yeah. So we want to know. You see, 69% of winners had 2 points of drawdown, right? And then the further you go up, basically the winner, most of the winners had very little drawdown before they ran to target. So it was literally like enter and then it drove to target. We all see that, don't we? The best trades are the ones that just go straight to target. It makes absolute sense, right? And let me see, since Discord streams only in 720p, it's hard to read data. Can you zoom in a bit? No, I can't. I'll just explain it. I can't because I don't want to like mess stuff up. Yeah, I don't know how it would like affect things. I set it up like this because it's safe, if you get me, G-Code. It's safe. I've set it up for the stream. Next time we can stream on Restream or something and do it on Twitter or something. I'm going to do like a proper stream on Twitter when I feel like we're totally ready. But yeah, I got a few things to sort out before then. Anyway, so this is showing you basically if you drop to 3.5 points, and this is on GC, you see up the top? You can select GC or NQ. Of course, like 3.5 points is a much more significant distance than 3.5 points on NQ, right? So if I go to NQ, you'll see in a moment, NQ, you know, all of them are pretty much, you can probably expand this a bit more, but like even 70% of trade, that's 12 points. Yeah, that's still valuable insights, right? And it gives you a little information down here. I'll read it to you because you won't be able to read it. The average winning trade goes 23 points, 23.78 points against you before hitting target. 90% of winners stay within 50 points of heat. Beyond that, the odds shift against recovery. Yep. And that's constantly updating based on the data coming in. Of course, to the data fiends, this is going to be absolutely like drool worthy, right? But for people that just want to, maybe you've been trading a couple of months, you're going to be like, I don't understand all this stuff and why it's relevant. Well, that's when you're going to be just relying on, and honestly, me, with everything I know, I'm still going to just be relying on the like the easy. There's a lazy mode which I'll show you soon. But yeah, you can see the heat distribution. So it shows you, you can't see because it's very small text, but 0 to 5 points of drawdown, that's the first big green bar, results in the majority of winners. There you go. Yeah. And as you increase the distance that you go against your trades, you see the losses increase too. And this P&L graph on the bottom right, well, there's little notes as well that will update, and it's always updating based on what the data says. But this is winners cluster in the shallow heat zone, losses spread wider. The further your trade moves against you, the more likely it is a losing trade, which makes absolute sense. Like, this is kind of like obvious stuff. It's telling us what we expected. But what's cool in this heat versus P&L, so each dot is a trade, it says. X, right, the x-axis is maximum drawdown in points. Y-axis is final P&L in points, right? And so you can see most of the trades that succeeded didn't go negative in P&L at all. They just run to target, right? How do we monopolize on this? Well, we have this referenced as a stop loss suggestion that's constantly updating based on what's in this log here. There's also a filter here. Don't worry about all the red. It doesn't mean losses, right? It just means, so by signal type, by session, by time frame, by range size or EM mode, right? It's showing the average heat on winning trades only, right? The lower it is, the cleaner the entries, yeah? And so you can see B setups have the least amount of heat. Bearish B setups, which also feeds into what we know is being shown as one of the best setups, which is all green. I have to review that. I have to write that down. Someone remind me to look into the data. But I've got heat stop on, sure. But we have the new trailing stop, which will, based on historical price moves, based on MAE, which is median average excursion, right? It's actually pulling in information from that, yeah? And so instead of heat stop, it's slightly different calculation, right? Basically tells you when to trail, right? So instead of having a hard stop at a certain distance, it will say to you, look, how cool is this? So we had B set up, London, from Thursday. So maybe last Thursday? Because is that right? February 19th, yeah, okay. And so that activated, it'll tell you the activation price. So when price moves from your entry in the favor of the trade, so short, we went down, then the entry was 5032.2, and you can see it says activate at 5020.5, yeah, and it activates, it means it trails to 5030.2, right? And here you see it's a scratch, meaning it probably stopped us out at the trail, but that doesn't look like 13 points, so it probably just stopped us out at the end of the session, I can imagine. But yeah, it's diagnosed as a scratch because I don't think it hit full target. So, but yeah, that's an example there. And instead of because there's always a problem, people will be like, oh, what do I do? That stop is so far away, right? And I'm like, I'd have to say something like, do you understand market structure? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't really know how much because it's a personal thing. How much does a person know? It's not very easy. You'd have to like really analyze their knowledge and ask them all the right questions. Don't have time to do that. So what's a way of like overcoming the shortcomings in TradingView with having these massive stops, statistically based stops, right? Well, it's to take all the data based on that trade type, and combining various other metrics and being like, hey, what if we had a stop loss that's based on the 90th percentile of trades, basically 90% of trades that do have a successful outcome hitting a target, TP1 or 2. What do they do, right? And then finding out what the maximum MAE, whether it's a fraction of that stop loss that's suggested, right? So 0.25x of the 26 points, right? So divide 26 by 4. Is that the one we should target? So it's this kind of thing. And yeah, lots to do. But yeah, we also have the JSON messages here if anyone wanting to analyze those when they come through. Not for everyone. But let's move on. So not only did we have the heat intelligence section, I'll go this way from left to right. We also have the performance section, right? And in the performance section, just think of it as it takes every trade and finds out the best combinations. So I know Sorora here, she was in the group before. Maybe she'll come back after this call because it's all much more clear and we're able to make things easier for everyone. But yeah, so we take every single trade. Can you imagine on this chart here, you see the P&L curve of GC and NQ together. You can see GC is done terribly without any filters because there's 0 filters on there, by the way, right? This is just letting it go if you took every single trade, yeah? Maybe it's actually got the filters on from my front page. I'll just cover that quickly before we move on. So gold, right? If we go to gold, just keep them raw. I'll remove trail, right? And here it actually says, if you're on all, it says filters applied per instrument, select gold or NQ to configure. So you can't apply the filters globally, you want to apply them separately because of course you want a different set of filters, baseline filters. You can see it's glowing at the top. Basically it says win rate 55, so anything more than 55, EV 0, anything more than EV 0, and then trade count more than 3. I have to, of course, see more data than everyone else because I want to make sure it's all coming through correctly. But you might have slightly harsher filters. But yeah, same with NQ, has different. That's 50. I can't even read it. 50, 58, 0 and 5 trade count, right? So only showing trades that meet those criteria from TradingView, right? Now, if we go to here, I think that's providing us this table now, yeah? So what do we have here? Not amazing stats, but we haven't applied any actual super core filters, right? So we have 177 wins and 142 losses. So just over 50% win rate, 55%, right? Now, this is for all trades. Now, if I go to, say, let's add, because you can see down here, right? It says B setup, A setup. Let's look for the greens, yeah? Right, look for the greens. Because when it results in a negative outcome, you can see it, right? So scout mode, 80 wins, 62 losses, 56% win rate, 834 points globally. Cool. B setup, 61 trades, 53 wins, 8 losses. That's real data, so almost 90% win rate with 1,379 points since February 12th. Can you imagine? That's a serious edge. And then you've got down here London session trades, if you were to filter those exclusively. 66 wins, 40 losses, 62% win rate, 1,035 points. Cool, so we understand this now. So these are the filter combinations. So when you click one, it will light up and it will take this information here and plonk it here too. So you got 87% win rate, 61 trades, and 1,379 points cumulatively over both assets. You can see GC is there's actually like a little swatch there. You can see that GC profited, then not many more trades. A few happened later on. Yeah. And then you see the blue line, which is NQ, starting off at 0, literally no drawdown, right, from 0 straight up. It's really doing well on NQ. That's why I don't know why the front page is not. Oh, because it was B's in London. Okay, so if I click London, but it was still showing no. So yeah, there's some kind of bug there. I'll figure it out on the front page filtering. Yeah. But yeah, we had a lot of bugs and we squashed a lot of them, so we're doing well. Anyway, so you can see there that, let's say we don't want drawdown, yeah, and we don't want to rely on the stop losses given to us in TradingView, right? And we want to incorporate or I guess leverage the fucking stop loss, the powerful stop losses we have inside our heat intelligence or our trailing method. Yeah. What if so at the top here, there's a heat button. Let's see how it changes. Okay, that's actually worse off slightly, right? But look how the actual path changes. It doesn't really. Yeah, it would just be like a few trades that's like made slightly less. But let's say we put on trail. Okay, that's a pretty okay amount. Yeah, like 10 more points. So it didn't really affect it. So I mean, because B setups are so great anyway, there's not much room for improvement. It's like you want to improve perfection. Well, why? I mean, close to 90% win rate, 53 trades. I'll take that with very little drawdown, because I think the main thing is you don't want periods where we drop a lot and then we recover, right? Because that's where your trailing issues in your prop accounts become a problem, right? If you get me. So yeah, this is a nice smooth curve. That's what we want to see. Now, if I put on the newly developed lazy boy mode, let me explain to you. It basically, if I put it on, yeah, you're going to have less trades because it's only finding the absolute constantly evolving best trades to take, right? So currently you can see it says current active combo is B New York scalp mode bullish, right? And that's based off 3 trades, 100% win rate, 171 points. So it's a theme, right? Running with at the moment. It's completely dynamic. And then the previous one, it actually says here, previously a London intraday bullish. So it's constantly adapting to developing factors. And as you can see, without anything else on, is 24 wins, 9 losses, 72% win rate. Let's add heat on. That increases it to 596 points, right? And you can also see the P&L graph update slightly. Right, and this is only working on, there are no gold lazy boy trades. So it's just working with NQ. As we build up more data, because this is only based on 41 trades identified out of the close to 600 trades, right? So it's very selective. But this is the sort of thing you can just plug in and forget. And I'll get to that in a moment. But you can add heat and trail, and basically it will choose the one that is closest from heat or for trail. Okay, so what that does is it will smooth out these humps and bumps, right? The periods of drawdown. So let's watch it. So heat, smoothed out slightly. I can see it. Trail, smoothed out slightly more, right? And it did increase the win rate. The same amount of trades, winning and losing, but it held on to some more profit. You see, Can you understand how this basically makes it better for automation? And this is just one example with lazy mode, which we don't have. Like 41 trades isn't enough trades to really base that on right now, but it's something you can set and forget because it's basically a system harnessing all the trades, right? And we'll keep gathering those trades, and it'll be providing us with more relevant suggestions. Yep. But yeah, that is that. You can also see the multipliers down here, why it chose the multiplier for heat sim, etc. Yeah, I mean, that's that. But yeah, so far I think the best combination is what it suggests, which is up the top here, B setup. Yeah, 1379 B setup on all. Yeah, B setup. So click that. Pretty bloody decent. It's just kept doing great, honestly. And then B setup with heat is worse, with trail is better. You see? Okay, so we'll go back now. I think you understand the performance section now. So you find your the best combinations, you just ride with those, right? And you can select to only be notified for those. You understand? Okay, we have another section called Insights. Yeah. In Insights, you can see we're selecting to see for all trades, either GC, either NQ, right, to TP2 or just to TP1, because of course trades are more likely to hit TP1 than TP2 because it's closer, right? But as you can see, we're doing pretty well. We're all green here across everything, all metrics going to the final target, right? And so, okay, this is the key finding. These are constantly updating too, right? So based on what's working, what's not. It will even tell you when to avoid a particular window of trading or a particular signal type. Can you imagine? So here, we'll just read through a few. Green dot London, that's a good thing to pay attention to. London session is the strongest, 58% win rate across 188 trades with 1,085 points. That's not bad, you know. And of course, that's not taking into account how you can then increase that win rate, right, with the trailing function, right? Because that will trail into profit, yeah. And then Asian session underperforms across. This is both NQ and GC as well. So if you look at them separately, they'll have different. Maybe you only trade NQ, so you just look at the NQ data, and it'll be much more relevant and probably higher success rates across the board. But blending both of them doesn't yield as like wow stats, of course. So Asian session underperforms. Yeah, we know that. Yeah, 38.7% win rate with negative 1,400 points. You definitely want to be cautious in Asia then if you're trading both NQ and GC. Maybe that would be a lot different if we were just filtering for GC or NQ. So B setup outperforms, as we know, 75% win rate on, so plus 1,900 points versus negative 1,291 points for A setup. So A and B, it's not really A and B then, is it? It's just category 1 and category 2. So, but that's what we call them, A and B, right? Because they're qualified for different reasons. So best hour 7 p.m. ET, right? Eastern time, 72% win rate, 1,400 points across 91 trades. Okay. And that's out of like 600 trades. That's a pretty significant batch of them. You're still getting a nice amount through over a 2-week period or whatever. So avoid 4 p.m. right? Avoid 4 a.m. Yeah, it's these kinds of things. 5-minute time frame lags. Don't use 5 minutes, or if you get 5 minutes through, be cautious. Yeah. And optimal filters. This is a good one. It's saying you should use 70% win rate, 7 EV, and then 3 trade count. but then you're limited to over a 2-week period, 43 trades, you know? So yeah, I mean, you can, but these are constantly updating. So best filter combinations at the moment based on the data that we have. And I need to go through and just double check because I made loads of updates to various other sections. So I just need to make sure it's all flowing through to this now. So we will see. Yeah, best flows. So this is cool because it's showing like the current best trades, and that comes back to the front page, right? The front page where you have the top 5. Yeah, if we go here, yeah, and then go to drop down, and that's the edges. Where is the filters? Yeah. Oh yeah, insights presets is a little bit hidden away, right? Insight presets, load presets, yeah, and it shows you the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades based off of the insight section. So you can basically say, hey, I only want to be alerted to the top current trades. Of course, the lazy boy mode does way better than that because it basically just takes that, you just turn that on there, yeah, that's it, save preferences, and it will alert you to only those trades. I think you can see I've done a lot of work on this, but yeah, that's the insights page. Signal optimization is showing you also, here's a drop down, it's showing you the best session times EM mode, right? Which one is the best? Like it's so granular and deep. It's got everything we need to know. Yeah. It's also showing the best times to trade. Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah, on all trades on GC and NQ, and also the best session, the win rate, and how many points. And clearly, Asian session is really something you should maybe even skip at the moment, right? And the only time we should start being full risk on Asia, yeah, is when that starts to go down, start to be promising again. You know, so many times traders are like, how do I know which is the best times to trade? Well, we have all the data on that based on the signals, right? The signals of stacks. Anyway, so yeah, if I click on GC, for example, let's just cover that quick before moving on. You can see GC, not really any particular optimal filter combinations at the moment. The only thing that looks promising is trading what looks to be shorts and New York, right? Shorts in New York. I think we had a short in New York today. And swing EM mode, right? So yeah, I think that speaks volumes about how GC has been trading at the moment. It's a bit bloody erratic, and that makes a lot of sense with the market kind of state, because we pumped loads, everyone's super bullish, so right now is like a period of high time frame consolidation or whatever. So it's no longer like, if you remember way back in the day when we were trading the pump on gold, it would just drop, we'd get a signal and it would pump all day, and you'd just be catching the low of the day every single signal. And that's around about the time that I had that Top Step bot hooked up to Stacks that was just, it was giving me payouts hands-free. But yeah, this is a much more, it's telling us to be cautious on gold at the moment. Doesn't mean we won't have trades. You're still going to be presented with 80% success rate trades that you should take, right? With all the values. And it even says on here, I forgot to mention, strongest setup, right? Like it tells you which, I mean, it's saying a lot of these are strong setup, elite win rate, right? Still lost, right? But that's the nature of the game. Did it fit the filter criteria, right, that we had set up that relates to what we see in the performance chart? Maybe not, right? And so you can set those. I think really the edge in the whole app is being able to interpret. I mean, is it really interpreting it as like, Okay, let me click a few things or look down here. What's the best trades? Well, what mode are we in at the moment? All, I think, because it needs to reset. Let me do it. Ah, it's because it's stuck in lazy boy mode or something. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that. I might have to close it and reopen it. Anyway, so here you'll be able to see the trades, right? I've got something switched on that I don't know what's on. Ah, because I got lazy boy mode on the front here. I forgot about that. So you click on filter, and was it on here? I gotta make sure. Like, how do I turn that off? See, I've been coding so much I don't even know what to click. I'm guessing if I do this and then save. Right. Ah, lazy boy mode has changed my settings. That's why. So if I go back to 50%, and this is for NQ. Okay, now it makes sense. And then like a 5 EV expected value and sample size 5 minimum, and then save, and then go back to gold. Did it change it for gold? Yes, it did. Okay, that's just something to note. If you click lazy boy mode, it's gonna constantly update your filters there, among other things. That it changes all these panels too, right, to the current best settings, right? So 50, we'll do like 4 expected value, or maybe even 0, and sample size 3. That's fine. And then I just got to turn all those off again. That makes sense. Like, with all this, you can always suggest me better ways to frame that, but that's yeah, look, that was lazy boy switched on. Cool. Of course, that will auto update your settings for you, so you won't have to go and change that every time or keep clicking lazy boy mode. It will be automatic. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty straightforward, honestly, but like, I'm always open to you suggesting more. Oh, you can even hover over these and it's showing you the data there. That's pretty fucking mad. Yeah, and then if you stick heat on trail, cool, that's insane. You know, it's less than 50% win rate, but you can see it doesn't allow much drawdown, right? Win rate is irrelevant if you've got massive periods of drawdown. You understand? So the stop losses, the downside protection, is arguably the most powerful thing about all this. Yeah, and we have 2 variables for that. Let's see if heat on its own did better. No, it looks like it didn't help. Only yeah. So that's just relying on the heat, because when one hits earlier than the trail, of course it stops out because of the heat, if that makes sense. As opposed to the trail, it can't then stop you out again. So you can see that heat did better. So heat is the one for all trades, right? But this is purely affecting NQ, like, because for whatever reason, leaving all trades just as is, you're going to get more of an effect on NQ at the moment, because we're in since February 12th, think about the way GC has traded. It's been pretty contained. Yeah, anyway, so that is that. Now, another thing, and please help me understand if anyone's in the group, if I've missed something out. I'll read the comments in a moment, right? But yeah, you can see here, like, if we go to this again, you're seeing be short 3-minute gold, the entry price, so that will pop on your screen as a notification, the first TP and the final TP, and where your stop should go. Yeah, And then on the right shows that it won, confidence of 7. You get all this information before the trade, scalp mode, and London. So if I wanted to go to stacks, right, and find where that signal was, right, it was 3 minutes. Oh, it's Thursday though, because these are much more heavily filtered. But let's look at a trade that, for example, using trail, right? Yeah, okay, let's go for this one. So this was GC for minute, right? It's this one on the chart. We just need to find, it was on, you can see on the right here, it says scalp, right? Scalp New York. So that was actually New York session, not New York extended, yeah? So you would click on New York session and scalp mode is already on down here. Yeah. Wait for it to load. Are you able to modify the JSON messages? In TradingView, yeah. Modify them to say what, though? If you're specific about that, then it will make sense to me. So, look, that was the trade, you see? So it hit, it was this one, TP1, yeah? Activate the trail. Okay, but it didn't hit the trail. Trail stop wasn't the reason, because then it would say scratch, right? So we had a trail, so it was locking in profit on the move down, right? The trail activated at 51396, 51. So so at the close of that candle was when the entry would be, right? And so 5196, right? I think that's right anyway. I could be looking at the wrong signal though. 4 minute. Is that today? Yeah, it's today. It might be a different trade. Anyway, am I on gold? It's because I'm on extended. So yeah, it's a bit confusing because I've got 3 instances of the script up for scalp, intraday, and if anyone wants to do that in the group, and swing. Right, but anyway, so that was the entry on that, but it didn't hit the trail stop of 519. I'm not looking at the right stacks, that's why I have to look at this later. Anyway, I don't want to be confusing. This is just stuff I've got to think about. And then the final thing for the webhook guys, right? So if we go up here, go on filter, I think there's 2 instances of filtering where notification display. In the notification display of when the pop-up comes up, right? So that'll notify you on your browser or on your app. There's a web app. You can download it as a web app, right? And so I've chosen to show entry, TP1 target, stop, win rate, EV, sample size, session, EV mode, time frame. Of course, if you have all that stuff on, I mean, some of it's quite important. I have to have that on because I have to make sure it's right? I'm not going to go changing that. But if I was just you or someone wanting to get an entry, a TP, a target, and a stop, I'd ignore the rest of that except for maybe confidence and the suggested heat stop. And now, of course, we have room for showing the trail stop too. So I'll add that. So let me think. So I'm just going to type it here. Add trail stop info in notification display. Sorry guys, gotta do it whilst I could just get my notepad, but notification display. I mean, anyone in the group, anyone not in the group, anyone in the group would say I'm literally like this all day. people say something and I'm like straight on it to add it. Yeah, anyway, so that's fucking it. But yeah, we could have a trail stop there. Anyway, moving on. So we go to this is your settings. You can sign out there as well, and we'll go through it. So there's a daily email that automatically takes all the data from today and also the overall all-time like best trades and whatnot, and what to think about for tomorrow, right? And it will tell you what trades worked today, what trades didn't, and stuff like that. And also a little dynamically updating chart that will show you. I need to update that now with trail stop, trades without heat stop and trades with heat stop, and why someone might want to use heat stop if it's doing so well. Yeah. So that's automatic. If you punch in your email, so plonk in your email address here, save. Yeah. And then just privacy policy terms, service disclaimer. Then moving on to webhook, guys, right? You add in your webhook here. Yeah. So for Chadis Rad, if you're wondering about that, I don't know if this function allows you to not worry about that. But yeah, we have a system that forwards to your webhook. And yeah, any data you want, I can dive in and get it. If you wanted to have like a full log of the B setups, for example, and to analyze all that, I can fucking do that when I have time. You know, I'm not going to do it immediately, maybe a couple of hours or the next day. But yeah, if you start typing in your webhook here, alt keys in JSON, you could re-forward, have some sort of external processing thing. You could, I mean, it's a risk. I would suggest that you don't have the ability to punch in your auth keys in the app, right? Yeah, like I have to say that, of course, and I actually don't want to create a function for that. So we can keep this conversation going, but I don't want to, because that is a risk. And I know Gone Missing there, Gone Missing would agree, because he's a hacker. But yeah, anyway, so look at this. You can add use heat stop. So it'll if you read it, replace stop with the P90, so the 90% of trades winning stop, you remember? And then or you can have the auto trail stop, so it will give you two values. It will give you the stop trigger, the trail stop trigger price, so where price needs to pass beyond before that stop shifts to whatever price it suggests, right? Yeah, so you get those two payloads, or you can also you can actually have your signal filter presets as well. This is pretty fucking crazy. I don't know if you can see it, but my filters, right? So the filters that you have preset on the dashboard, right? Yeah. Or you can have lazy boy mode, literally sending you the trades that meet lazy boy mode. Do you understand? That's mad. Come on, guys. We did it. And then also lazy boy mode with heat stop and trail stop. And so it will pick the best stop out of those, or the stop that gets hit first. So it's just going to give you, if you think about like receiving data from a trade that's triggered based on lazy boy mode, right? You receive all this information. How is the trade going to pan out? Let's say it's a B short price. So you get that information, it spits it out to your system, and it says so our entry is here, and price drops down, right? And then it drops down beyond a certain point, right? And then the trailing stop activates, right? And then it's like, okay, well, the stop loss is now slightly in profit, right? And then price drives up and hits the trailing stop. You won the trade, yeah. And let's say price just keeps smashing up after that, right? Well, you'd be thankful that you hit your trailing stop and didn't hit your heat stop, for example, or the original stop from TradingView. You see what I mean? So that's all there. It's going to spit that out in a webhook payload. You also have these options. So if you go to My Filters, and you can select the current best, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 save payload options. If you remember, this takes the current trending signal intelligence from the Insights signal optimizer. It takes the best trades combinations, yeah. The top 5 flows, puts it there, and you just click at a click of a button, right? Yeah, I didn't experiment with this. So GC looks shit all the way to TP2, but let's just change it to TP1. Does that make it look more green? Yeah, fucking GC, take it to TP1, baby. All right, I'm tired. I'm gonna go. But yeah, I hope you found that interesting. Any more questions you can ask in public chat. But yeah, that's it. I want to read through some stuff. All right. But I will renew if understand. I can see in the app how much ticks in drawdown. Yes, you can, but Sorrowa's gone. So in performance, when showing all, how can it show? Yeah, because if you think about trailing, it's not going to allow. It's going to do its best to not allow it to go beyond a certain point, right? Or the heat stop's going to catch it before it goes too far, if that makes sense. In performance, when showing all, how can it show filters? VC or win rate EV? Looks like it's showing GC filters. In performance, when showing all, performance when showing all. Let's see. How can it show filters? GC filters. How can it show filters? I don't know what that means. Show filters. Up the top is showing the current filters. And it's using GC's filters by default. Yeah, so whatever you set GC to, it's yeah. Across both. I believe that's right. Yeah, I mean there might be another way to experiment with that. A or B, a different code. Yeah, I mean this is really just optimization. Also keeps you focused on what's actually working really good. Are we able to modify the JSON? So automation usually needs auth keys. Yeah, your like API key, right? I'm not creating a WebSocket with it or anything. Into these pages when get a moment. Thanks. Look, you have both instruments, but okay, I think filters are per instrument. I'll investigate that. I'll write that here. Because it's a question of, did I fix that already or not? Because I thought about it, of course. is win rate EV N for when all selected in performance for filtering for GC values for both GC and NQ. All right, there we go. Correct, no. What does it mean, Chadis Rad? Correct, no. Yeah, I got to think about that because I don't want people entering in their keys into the app. Yeah, it's just not very. I'm thinking about how that could become a problem. That's all, if you get me. But if there's an idea you have, I'm always open to ideas if there's a workaround. But it might mean that you're receiving the message and then processing it on your side. Yeah, that's something I need to think about a bit, if you don't mind. That looks great. Yeah, anyway, what else we got? Oh yeah, so if we stick that on, because if you take off heat, then it's that. Best setups, B setups with heat. I think it made it worse. Yeah, so this is probably the best best signal type, and you've got 86 trades. You've got 86 trades. After 10 trades, if most of them win, that's a significant indication of like I remember Vio, my mate Vio, the math guy, programmer himself, smart guy. He's like 10 trades, high win rate, you know, and mitigating drawdown potential is a significant edge, indication of an edge. And now we have what, 86 trades and building. So yeah, there's a few things. Now every time I look at the app and speak to people about the app, I'm thinking of things that I can improve about it. So, you know, you got to understand, this is the third week developing this. From Owned SK can say 3 weeks ago he wanted to make a signals app or something, and I'm like, but it would have to be for everyone. If you remember me saying, I can't just make it for you, or I can't just think about this for you because I've got too many other things to worry about. Also, no offense, I'm not going to spend a lot of time focusing on something to do for one person. So I'm like, how can I get he had an idea of like creating a middleware where we would process it, and I'm like, no, let's create an app. You know. So yeah, like even though we're here, I'm pleased that we're here now with it pretty much working, but part of me also will never get that time back, you know. I'll never get that time back. Time is a valuable asset, isn't it? All right, I'm numb. Yeah, too many hours working. I need some time off, I think. But yeah, we're not done yet. But what are you saying? How work trail on JSON alert? Okay, let me explain it to you. This is recorded too, so watch it back. Don't ask me the same question. So let's say we get a B short. So here's a B short. Yeah. And so that's the entry. Price moves down. At the start of the trade, there should be a trail start, right? Price. So trail start, right? And then the trail stop. Yeah. Okay, so trail stop, maybe it's a break even or maybe it's slightly in profit. It decides for you what makes sense based off history, yeah, for that trade type, that session, etc., and that direction. And so at this price, yeah, your original stop, which is this guy, yeah, or maybe you're going to use heat stop, which might be slightly lower or something. So you can actually have heat stop, which is a static price, as you know, heat stop, which just makes it slightly more advantageous for people trying to limit drawdown on downside, yeah. And so let's say your heat stop is here, right? And that's your entry, as you know, at this price. When price breaches this price, the app has suggested that the trailing stop price, to activate it, trailing stop price activation, yeah, is when price has moved in your favor slightly, and that's going to shift the heat stop or whichever stop to the trailing stop price, right, after it moves in your favor. So it's basically making it so you profit sometimes or you're break even or close, yeah. Because if that trade is going to come back up, it could just blast up, as you know, and you don't want to then stomach 26 points on GC, do you? Based off the original stop type. Does that make sense? Basically, you get all that information, you have to process it in your system. It's like, yeah, like pulls after price moves in your favor a bit. It's like can you imagine like a auto break even kind of stop loss type thing? Yeah. Let's have a look. I can't read that, man. I've been programming all day. Nothing makes sense to me anymore. Sorry. You'll notice more and more throughout the day I will be asking you what the hell you mean, because I just don't understand words anymore. I hope that's okay. Anyway, so that's fucking it, isn't it? Alright, well, I'll stop recording.